Sports have been part of human history for thousands of years. The first ever sport has been debated quite heavily for some time now, but most of the evidence points to wrestling being the first ever sport. Carvings and drawings estimated to be around 15,000 to 20,000 years old that were found in caves illustrate wrestlers in hold and leverage positions. Sports are still a big part of people's lives today, as it has brought everyone together and has been important in our history. They affect modern popular culture and have often reflected changing social attitudes and standards. Most people in America have probably gone to a football game with friends and in family. It's just a good thing, and I think most people can agree on that. It can motivate people to work hard and become the best in the sport. But sometimes, society goes too far. In the weakest of moments, they do things that they regret later when it's too late. And a prime example of that is golf. Personally, I have nothing against golf itself. It's fun and it can be played by anyone. The problem starts when you start labeling it a sport. Now, the Oxford Dictionary defines sport as an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or a team competes against another or others for entertainment. There are a lot of recreational outdoor activities that involve either a high level of physical exertion or skill, but do not have both that make it a sport. Here are a couple activities that are not a sport. Cornhole. Cornhole is a game where you throw beanbags at a cardboard slope with a hole in it and try to make it into the hole. This is a backyard activity, not a sport. How's this even a debate? It doesn't cause physical exertion, nor is there much competition. The only argument you can make is that it's skillful, but everything has a degree of skill into it anyways. There are arguments online arguing that the backyard game during the summer where little kids throw beanbags at cardboard is a sport. How has society gotten so backwards and weak to where we call this a sport now? Take a look at all these backyard activities, and you tell me which one is ESPN writing articles about how it could be the new Olympic sport. Bowling. I have never been more baffled by the internet until the moment I read that people consider bowling a sport. I thought it was unanimous that it was an activity. Bowling is an activity. Bowling is literally curling without the house sweeping. If you think that rolling a ball towards standing pins is a sport, I recommend you take a trip to your nearest neurologist and have your brain studied by thousands of doctors and scientists on how the human brain can be damaged. Bowling does not take physical exertion, nor does it really have any competition with each other, as you're just playing a solo game and you're comparing scores at the end. Curling. I named them when I was talking about bowling, but I have a segment for them here too. I don't know who thought this was sporty enough to get into the Olympics, but they need to fire them. Curling is the absolute antithesis of a sport. You mix cornhole with cleaning the house, and you put that in the Olympics and thought no one else would notice. Look at this clip.
She will be Canadian champion if she makes this shot.
This is so tough.
A most difficult attempt, trying to come in off a stone on the outside, trying to get the roll to the stone at the button. They're working on it frantically. There's the contact. There's the roll. She's made
it! Now, I don't know about you, but usually when I'm sweeping the house, I don't sit down and say, well, looks like I'm physically exerted. You might make an argument that it is a sport due to the fact that it has competition, and you're right. This activity did what golf did wrong. It has competition where you can knock out someone else's stone. However, this still doesn't make it a sport. This leads into a point I want to make. Generally, when you think of a competition in a sport, you think football, soccer, basketball, or anything where there are two sides and they are directly pitted against each other. Their plays include attempting to gain an advantage against the other team by outplaying them. That means they want to stop themselves from getting outplayed. So you have these two sides trying hard to score while making sure that the opponent doesn't. The only one that this applies to in the list that I made is curling, but I will never call house cleaning a sport. There is one case where I think this does not have to apply to be a sport, And I think that's when you're showing off incredible amounts of physical exertion and you have to contest against others. The first sport that comes to mind is running. You aren't trying to stop your opponents from running, but you're in a race, which is a contest of speed. I consider this competition enough to be named a sport. It is also incredibly physically exerting. You ever see the dudes after a run take their shirt off and wring out the sweat in their shirts? I think that proves my point there as well. And running takes skill. This exception isn't only for running either, it could be applied to strongman competition and any other incredibly physical activity where you're contesting against others. Now finally, after hearing all of that, let's talk about golf, the main point. Golf is not physically exerting. There is no competition. It is skillful, but it's not entertaining. Golf is no easy game. It takes lots of practice to get decent at it and an incredible amount of time to reach a pro level. But that's the same with everything else. I just think, personally, that it's a reach to call it a sport. And that's the entire video. Thanks.